What's up, disciples? What? No. Oh boy. What is up, YouTube? Disciple here. I'm just on my morning commute to work, and I thought I'd take you guys along with me, as I just installed these new bars on my Sporty. And this is only like the second or third ride that I've taken since I put them on, and I gotta say, I'm just loving them so far. I wasn't sure about them, you know. It's so hard to me anyway. I don't know if you guys have the same problem, but like, you look at a pair of bars online, and even though you see the measurements and everything, it's really hard to tell exactly how high they're going to come up. And even if you can measure from, you know, the triple trees up, how tall they are, you're not sure if it's going to be a little bit more forward, a little bit more back, how much the pullback is going to be on the bars, because these have a slight pullback, you know. So it's really hard to tell from a picture online if you're ordering the right bars. And I gotta say, this is like I have ordered and sent back so many sets of bars that I never even installed to see how they fit, just because I knew as soon as I took them out of the box and held them up to the bike that I was like, oops, nope. And one of those was, I got the 1 1/4 inch thick what are they called? Wild Chubbies, I think. With the, they had like, I think it was like 12 or 14 inch risers with like the MX bar on top, kind of. And I held those things up to the bike and sat on it, and I just knew right away, like, nah. Not to mention they were also drilled for internal wiring, which, from what I understand, is a pain in the butt, and I'm not sure that I'm ready to take on a challenge like that. So extending wires, and you gotta de-pin all your connectors and stuff. I don't think it's for me. I hadn't realized that when I ordered it. I don't know what I was thinking. I guess I didn't pay attention to that part. But anyway, how are you guys doing? I am on my way to work. It is 5:30 in the morning here in New York, and I just thought I would take you guys along and we could talk a little bit on my way. So these bars that I did end up getting, okay, are, as you probably seen from the title of the video, are the 10-inch rise Lowbrow Customs T-bars. So yeah, these are right off Lowbrow Customs website. I think they got two or three sizes on this. I think they had like an 8 and a 10. I know they had 8 and 10. They might have had one other size. I actually was hoping they had 10 was the tallest they had. I was hoping they had one a little bit taller. I would think I would have liked to try a 12. However, the 12 might not have fit the stock cables, and this did. So if you're thinking about going with some T-bars for your Sportster, I mean, my Sportster's a 2006, so the length of the cables may be a little different on yours depending on what year you have, but my stock cables all fit. You know, the brake line and everything I was able to make work with these, so I was really happy about that. I thought that maybe I was going to have to change the brake line. I knew the rest of the cables were going to fit, but I thought I might need to change the brake line. But one of the other things you have to take into consideration if you do go with a set of bars like this is that your stock gauge cluster attaches to the top of your handlebar mount. And since these are coming right out of the triple trees, you eliminate that mount, and now you have to find a different way to mount your gauge. So I got this thing right here, which clamps from the back side and the front side and basically squeezes up against the bars, and then the gauges mount to that. it's either that or you got to relocate the gauge to somewhere else if you're going to do these types of handlebars. I don't really like the look of the gauge on the side. I don't know. I know some people do. Cleans it up here, but to me, I like to have that gauge in front of me. Not that I use it that often. To be honest with you, the biggest thing I use it for is my neutral light. The speedometer is not really a worry. I mean, on a Iron 883, there's not too many times you got to worry about speeding. It's not exactly the fastest bike in the world, so I don't often check the speedometer. I kind of just ride with traffic. But anyway, yeah, I am loving these bars. I wasn't sure about these either. Actually, I opened the box and I was kind of like, nope, these aren't going to be it either. They're too short, you know. I was like, I'm not even going to bother bolting them up to see. I just, you know, and then I sat there for a day or two and I was like, you know what? I got to just give it a shot. I mean, it's 2 bolts. I'll take the other, you know, the mount off for the stock handlebars. I didn't have stock handlebars on here. I actually had Z-bars, but take that off and bolt these up and not even do the wires, but just see where they sit and how they are. And I gotta say, I'm loving it. Even though they didn't raise up the height much, they're at about the same height that my Z-bars were at. And I think those were like 7-inch Z-bars, if I'm not mistaken. I'll put it in the comments below if I remember. But point is, the Z-bars were cool and I really liked them in the beginning, but they had me leaning like a couple inches forward, the way that they mounted up. So it was like the same height, but I was leaning too far forward. It just started to get uncomfortable. Anything longer than like a little cruise around town, especially if you had a backpack on, you felt like you were leaning over and the backpack was just crushing your back. So even though these didn't really raise the height, and that was one of the things I wanted, was for it to be a little bit higher, they brought the bars like 3 inches closer, and that was enough to make it so much more comfortable. And it really is amazing the way a set of bars can change like the whole dynamic of a bike, you know. It totally changed the feel of it. The bike actually feels like more maneuverable now, like more easily maneuverable with these bars than it did with the Z bars, which is kind of weird. I mean, it shouldn't be any more easy to maneuver, but I guess just the comfort factor makes it that way. So yeah, so far I am really liking them. Another 2 inches taller would have been excellent, but again, I don't think my brake cable would have made it. Would have had to definitely change that. I did have to reroute my clutch cable actually up through the bars and over to here in order to not have it like pinched up against the side of the forks over here. The way it was coming up, it was like pinched and really tight, so that just wasn't working out. So I took it off and I rerouted it through here, and it seems to have enough slack now, and it seems to be working out fine. It's not pinching the cable. It works fine. Alright, so here I'm going to answer another question for people that they might have if they're looking to get a Sportster, and that is the Sportster enough power? Does the Sportster have enough power to do the highway? And the answer is absolutely yes. Now don't get me wrong, it's not the most powerful bike in the world, and once you get up to highway speeds, you don't have a ton more power to use for like passing power or to get out of the way of somebody. But it absolutely has no problem going at highway speeds. I'm on the Long Island Expressway right now in New York, one of the biggest highways on the island. I'm doing 70 miles an hour, cruising along, having no problem keeping up with traffic, and she's still got plenty more power. So yes, the Sportster absolutely can do highway miles. Now, would I pick it to do a long road trip on? Absolutely not. But if you're planning on getting a Sportster and using it as like a bike to commute back and forth to work, and you want to commute on the highway for a couple exits, there's no problem with that. It's absolutely doable. I see no problem with that. Like I said, I wouldn't use the bike as a long distance. I wouldn't be doing no major road trips on this where I had to be on the interstates and stuff like that. But if you got to get on the expressway or the highway for a couple exits on your commute to work, there'd really be no issue with that. I wanted to just bring up one more thing. For any of you out there that are Christians like me, I need your help. Asking you for some help. I need prayers, please. Not only for me and my wife, but most of all for our little dog, Einstein. He's just the cutest little thing ever, and he's a Cavalier King Charles, and that breed comes with many health issues, unfortunately. And my wife had rescued him from a place where the breeder dropped him off at a rescue, I guess knowing that the parents had some of the bad ailments that these dogs tend to get, and knew that the puppies would have it also, and knowing he couldn't sell it, he decided that he was just going to drop it off at a rescue. And my wife had adopted him, and it turned out that he did have some of the common things that Cavalier King Charleses have, but she was able to deal with them through medicine because she caught it early on, and he was having a great life. Unfortunately, recently we noticed through some tests by accident that there was a big growth in his spleen, and it was scheduled to be removed this week, but unfortunately the last couple days he wasn't really eating. He was very lethargic, and he actually ended up throwing up once or twice. So we had brought him to the emergency vet, and it turns out that he had stage 2 kidney disease, but his levels were okay enough that we thought it was going to be safe enough to put him under anesthesia for the operation to do the splenectomy and take his spleen out. Unfortunately, now his levels are way too high, and that's no longer an option. So he's currently at the hospital, and he's receiving fluids to hopefully bring his levels down, wash out his kidneys a little bit, so that, I don't even know, I hope so that he can come home. But if he's unable to get his kidney levels to come back down, there's not many good options really at this point in time. And we are just spending a fortune to try to figure this problem out. And if any of you have dogs or cats and you've been to the emergency vet, you know how quickly the bills stack up, and honestly they don't do anything until you pay first. So it's been rough, and it's really it's got both of us very depressed, very sad. Like I said, or maybe I didn't say, he's only 8 years old at this point in time, and this is a breed that normally their lifespan is about 12 to 15. So even the vet said, "Are you sure about his age? Are you sure he's only 8? Normally we don't see this type of kidney disease this advanced until around age 12. And yeah, we had to assure him that he was 8 years old. And yeah, it really just stinks. It really does. So please, we need all the prayers we can get. If you're a praying person, please pray for little Einstein, that he would have some type of recovery, that he would have some time left to come and spend with his family at home, and that we could bring him home and just enjoy his company a little bit more. We really, at this point, we need a miracle, essentially. So thank you for that. I'll throw a few pictures up, or I probably already did, just to show what he looks like. He's such a happy little boy too, and it's even with everything that's going on, it's like he hasn't really let it affect his mood at all. He's just so docile, and even the vets said he's like the star of the show over there. Everyone's just loving him. Anyway, guys, this is about where I'm gonna cut it off because I'm getting close to work. But I wanted to thank you for taking this ride with me this morning. I hope it was helpful. If you guys are looking into some handlebars, definitely check out Lowbrow Customs. Super happy with my choice here. I'm sure you guys will be too if you're looking for T-bars, if you're in the market for T-bars. Again, these are the 10-inch tall T-bars. And yeah, of course you need this bracket in order to put the gauge cluster back on. And that's it for me, guys. It was great talking to you. All right, be good to yourselves. All right, remember, keep your knees in the breeze, keep the rubber side down. You guys have a great day. God bless you.